Assalamu alaikum students. So today we will study the development of the structures of eye other than the retina, the iris, ciliary body. We have covered them in the previous lecture. Now in this lecture we will sclera, cornea, choroid, extraocular muscles, eyelids, conjunctiva, development of lacrimal apparatus and development of lens. In development of cornea, sclera, and choroid, as I have told you before, as I have already mentioned, the optic cup is covered by a layer of mesenchyme. Now, this mesenchyme is derived from the neural crus cells mainly. This mesenchyme proliferates and by the end of fifth week invades the region between the developing lens and the surface ectoderm. In this way, the developing eye becomes surrounded completely by a thick coat of mesenchyme. You can see in here the optic cup and whole of the eyeball, developing eyeball is surrounded by the mesenchyme. And in the fifth week, the area between the lens and the ectoderm is also filled up by the mesenchyme. Now, this mesenchyme is mainly derived from the neural crus cell. The fate of this mesenchyme differs in the anterior and posterior part of the developing eye. The mesenchyme overlying the developing retina responds to the inductive influence of retinal pigment epithelium by differentiating into two layers, an inner pigmented layer, which is known as choroid. This is a vascular layer, and an outer fibrous layer called sclera. Now, this is the mesenchyme covering the retina, and under the inductive influence of this layer, pigmented layer of the retina, this layer differentiates into two layers. Number one layer is the pigmented layer, which is the choroid, and outer to the choroid is the sclera. Okay. Now here you can see this is the retina of the this is the developing retina, and this is the neuronal layer, and the mesenchyme covering the neuronal layer is forming the choroid, and the outer part is forming the sclera. State of the anterior part of the mesenchymal coat is different. So this is the anterior part, and mesenchyme is lying between the lens and the surface ectoderm. During the sixth week, a slit-like space called the anterior chamber of the eye appears in this mesenchyme lying anterior to the lens. So this is the space which is the anterior chamber of the eye. Formation of the anterior chamber splits this mesenchyme into two layers. Now, this is the layer which is beneath the ectoderm, and this is the second layer, which is in front of the lens. An anterior or superficial layer which lies underneath the surface ectoderm. This is the surface ectoderm, and this is the anterior layer which is lying beneath it. And it is involved in formation of the cornea. And a posterior or deep layer that forms a temporary mesenchymal membrane known as iridopupillary membrane. So this mesenchyme in front of the lens forms a membrane, this is temporary one. This is known as iridopupillary membrane. Now the cornea, it develops from two sources. The interior epithelium of the cornea is derived from the surface ectoderm. So cornea is derived from two sources. Its interior epithelium, that is the stratified epithelium, is derived from the ectoderm, surface ectoderm. The mesenchyme of the superficial wall of the interior chamber differentiates into substantia propria of the cornea and the corneal endothelium that covers the posterior surface of the cornea. So, cornea interior epithelium is derived from surface ectoderm and stroma and endothelium is derived from the mesenchyme. Mesenchyme of the superficial wall of the anterior chamber. This one. So two sources of cornea. Cornea is derived from two surfaces, surface ectoderm and the mesenchyme covering the anterior surface of the anterior chamber, superficial surface of the anterior chamber of the eye. The iridopupillary membrane, also known as pupillary membrane, that lies in front of the lens and iris, it becomes vascularized and participates in provision of nutrition to the developing lens. Now, the membrane begins to regress after the sixth month of development and normally disappears completely before birth. After the disappearance of iridopupillary membrane, the posterior boundary of the anterior chamber is formed direct by the iris. So this whole mesenchymal tissue and the iridopupillary membrane disappears, and uh, the posterior boundary of anterior chamber is formed by direct by the iris, and now the anterior chamber communicates with the posterior chamber through the pupil. The posterior chamber of eye develops as a space that appears in the mesenchyme posterior to the developing iris and anterior to the developing lens. Persistent iridopupillary membrane. Sometimes remnants of iridopupillary membrane may persist in the form of a web-like strands of connective tissue over the pupil. So you can see here this web-like structure, strands of connective tissue present over the pupil. This condition, more commonly seen in premature infants, seldom causes interference with vision, and connective tissue strands usually atrophy with time. Rarely surgical removal is required. So here you can see again, anterior chamber is appearing in the mesenchyme in front of the lens and behind the ectoderm, dividing it into two layers. That is the one, layer which is present beneath the surface ectoderm and the layer which is lying in front of the developing lens. Now this layer which is lying in front of the developing lens, it will form the iridopupillary membrane, and you can see that this membrane is regressing, and here you can see the the corneal formation. Cornea formation, it is by the surface ectoderm and the superficial layer of the mesenchyme which is surrounding the superficial layer of superficial boundary which is forming the superficial boundary of the anterior chamber. Now the posterior chamber, it develops posterior to the iris here, and you can see here that this posterior chamber is communicating with the anterior chamber. The development of vitreous body. Initially, the lens vesicle and the inner layer of optic cup, that is the developing neuronal retina, are in contact with each other. You can see here very little space between them. However, later they draw apart but remains connected by a network of delegated cytoplasmic process which is known as primary vitreous body. So here primary vitreous body. Cytoplasmic process constituting the primary vitreous body are derived partially from the cells of the lens vesicle and partially from the cells of neural retina. So two sources. This is not from the mesenchyme. These are derived from the cells of the lens vesicle and partly from the neural retina. Later, the mesenchyme that enters the optic cup through the choroid fissure give rise to transparent gelatinous substance. The network of cytoplasmic process and the gelatinous substance together form the secondary vitreous body. So, vitreous body is derived from three sources. One is the mesenchyme, second is the lens fibers, and third one is the neuronal layer of retina. Hyaloid artery is a branch of ophthalmic artery that develops during the embryonic period to supply the hyaloid artery. It supplies the blood supply to the of the tunica vasculosa lentis. In addition, it gives branches to the developing retina. So it gives branches to the developing lens and the developing retina. The proximal part of hyaloid artery lies within the choroid fissure. Here you can see this is the choroid fissure and proximal part is lying in it, while its distal part runs through the canal in the vitreous body. When the lens matures during the fetal life and does not require blood supply anymore, the distal part of hyaloid artery, you can see here, the distal part of hyaloid artery, it degenerates, whereas its proximal part persists as the central artery of retina. So it is going here in the optic nerve and it supplies the retina. So this is the central artery of retina. Although the distal portion of hyaloid artery degenerates and disappears completely, the original hyaloid canal of the vitreous body persists even in the adult as narrow transparent channel running through the vitreous body. This is the hyaloid canal, empty hyaloid canal running in the vitreous body. So normally the distal part of hyaloid artery degenerates, whereas the proximal part persists as the central artery of retina. Rarely its distal part, the distal part of this artery fails to regress completely and may persist as fine strand traversing the vitreous body. Here you can see in some cases a remnant of hyaloid artery may give rise to a cyst within the vitreous body. So this is persistent hyaloid artery. The eyelids, how they develop. The primordia of eyelids appear during the sixth week as ectodermal folds located just above and below the developing cornea. So here you can see the ectodermal folds which are located above and below the cornea. Each lid primordium contains a core of mesenchyme. The upper and lower eyelid primordia grow towards each other by the ninth week their edges meet and fuse. Here you can see they grow towards each other and their edges meet and fuse by the ninth week. The space between the fused eyelids and the cornea is called the conjunctival sac. Now this is the conjunctival sac which is lining the cornea, and this sac is lined by the ectoderm derived epithelium. The ectoderm on the outer surface of eyelids differentiates into epidermis. Here, this differentiates into epidermis. The epithelial fusion between the upper and lower eyelids begin to break down during the fifth month, and the eyes reopen during the seventh month. Here you can see the fusion of the epithelial fusion between the two eyelids, it breaks down by the seventh month and eyes reopen. So this is how the eyelids are formed by the folds of the ectoderm having a core of mesenchyme. Extraocular muscles, the four recti muscles and superior and oblique muscles, how they form from the mesenchyme in the region of eyeball, start as a single mass of mesenchyme and later separate into distinct muscles, and first their insertion and later at their origins. And the levator palpebrae superioris is formed last, splitting from the mesenchyme that forms the superior rectus muscle. Now the eyelashes, they develop as epithelial buds from the surface ectoderm, first arise in the upper eyelid and arranged in 2 to 3 rows, one behind the other. Lacrimal gland development, the development of lacrimal gland, it begins in the during the ninth week, and each gland it appears as approximately six outgrowths from the ectoderm at the superolateral angle of the conjunctival sac. At first, the gland primordia are in the form of solid epithelial cords, but later they branch and acquire lumen. And the surrounding mesenchyme it provides the stroma. So the epithelial cords, the secretory cells, they are formed by the ectoderm, and the surrounding stroma is formed by the surrounding mesenchyme.